Okay, so good afternoon everyone. So we are now going to continue our discussion with the recruitment, selection, and placement under the Public Personnel Administration. So our previous discussion talks about or covers certain factors or consideration that affects the recruitment process of an organization, specifically in the government offices or organizations. So now let us move on to the next process in the hiring, which is the selection. So after a certain applicant has been interviewed, so after the posting of the vacancy in a position, after posting for an announcement that there is an opening in an organization, so now we are going to proceed with the selection process. So when we say selection process, it refers to the process of choosing individuals from a pool of applicants who are most likely to achieve the goals of the jobs that may be assigned to them. So basically, dito nag-i-start ang hiring process. The hiring process starts with the selection if there are already applicants. Okay, so the applicants will submit their application letters, and then after the deadline or after the set selection process, then these prospect employees will be scheduled for an initial screening. So this initial screening is the first step in the selection process. Okay, so in the initial screening process, so the Human Resource Management Officer receives the application letter and other pertinent documents of an applicant. So during the hiring process, during the posting of the announcement of the job vacancies, there are certain qualifications that are written there. For example, you must be above 18 years old, you must have a college graduate degree or diploma. Your college degree must be related to the position that you're applying with. So in the initial screening, the HR management officer checks some of the documents that you submitted via online or when you walk in a certain organization. So if you meet the minimum qualification, then you will proceed with the completion of the application form. Basically, when we say completion of the application form, then it is also a certain form that is being provided by the Human Resource Management Officer, wherein you fill out basic information such as your name, age, sex, and etc. That is also written in your bio data. Okay, and also you will be filling out certain parts in application form such as your expected salary. When we say expected salary, when you get this particular position, what compensation you are expecting to receive when you are hired by the organization. After that is the employment test. Actually, the number 3 and then the number 4, these are not standard, of course. These are not the standard steps or selection process. Interview sometimes comes first before the employment test. The employment test for other agencies comes first before the comprehensive interview. But nevertheless, these two are the most important part of the selection process. When we say employment test, in government organization, we also call them the battery test. When we say battery test, then you are being tested for basic examination questions that will test your mathematical skills, vocabulary skills, your logical skills, analytical skills, and then after you pass the employment test, then you're going to proceed with the comprehensive interview. So comprehensive interview may be one-on-one or it could also be a panel, but normally comprehensive interview, so this is an oral interview, this is a face-to-face interview wherein you will face the Human Resource Management Officer or other authorized person that will conduct the interview. So in the interview process, you will be asked on the information that is written in your documents, such as your skills, such as your goals in life, such as your personal information. You're going to introduce yourself. So the comprehensive interview is actually one of the most critical part of the selection process, because in the interview process, the human resource management officer or the personnel selection committee or board in an organization can actually see how you perform in a face-to-face setting. Because during the submission of the application form, you can say whatever you want. You can put flowery words. But in the comprehensive interview, they can test how quick thinker you are, how you handle situations through an interview, how you solve certain cases or situations that will be thrown upon you by the interviewer. If you pass the employment test and then the comprehensive interview, then there will be background investigation. So when we say background investigation, then the company will check your previous employments. Okay, so when you have a previous employment, the organization will check if you have certain conflict or issues or unresolved problems with the former organization that you were in, because this will affect your selection process. Have you been convicted of a certain case? Okay, may it be criminal or may it be a criminal or administrative case. So this will form part of the selection process. So you will be investigated. Okay. If you pass the background investigation, then there will be a physical or medical examination. So it determines your fitness for a certain position. So this is a vital and a mandatory part of the selection process. And then if you pass all these 7 steps or 6 steps rather in the selection process, then you will be offered the job or position. Okay? So let us now discuss some of the selection factors or process. Number 1 is the examinations. So no person except as provided by law is appointed to or employed in a position in the career service. So let us go back again. When we say career service, then this is based on merit and fitness. When we say merit and fitness, then you have met the minimum qualification as set by the Civil Service Commission. So no person is employed in the career service unless he or she has passed the appropriate entrance examination. So the organization or the government organization has the discretion to innovate their own entrance examination. So this is what we call the open competitive entrance examination. Okay? So there are 2 forms of examination. Number 1 is the assembled or the written examination. So this is the most common type of examination wherein you're going to the interviewer is going to hand you a certain paper or questionnaire, and you're going to answer the particular question that is being asked in that examination. Okay, but also during that particular test, you will be requested. Sometimes you will be requested for an oral test, or when we say more like an interview test, and then the performance test. This is applicable for skilled positions. So when we say skilled position, this probably involves technical skills such as welding, such as engineering, such as vocational skills or vocational or abilities or competencies. So you might be requested to perform, okay, as added to written examination or oral test. Let's say, for example, for technical skills, for electronics, so you will be requested probably to perform some electrical activities or examination. In the unassembled examination, then you don't have to go to the organization to be interviewed or to take an examination. The pertinent documents that you have submitted, the application letter, the biodata, the PDF that you have submitted, and they are going to check all informations in your pertinent documents, and that will serve as an assembled examination. But when we say comprehensive interview, the next, which is one of the most important part of the selection process, then the applicant will be interviewed by a senior manager or the head of the agency, the HR. Normally, it is the human resource management officers and potential supervisors, or where you will be assigned, your immediate supervisor or the unit or department where you will be assigned. Normally, they sit as a panel. So when we say panel, it is a group of interviewers consisting of 2, 3, or more than 3 interviewers. Okay, so the types of interview. So I'm not going to discuss every detail because you have your module naman, so you just have to read your module. But let me go to the most important parts. Directive interview. So it asks for a specific information. So when we say specific information, it normally refers to the background of the applicant. What is your age? What is your goal in life? What is your name? What is your previous employment? So directive interview, direct to the point. The questions are direct to the point. So when we say a non-directive interview, so these are questions that are broad or open-minded and require a narrative answer. So normally, this non-directive interview are questions that are not written, questions that are not written in your bio data. So this may involve cases, situations, problem solving, decision making skills. So this is what we call a non-directive interview, wherein there might not be correct answer or there may not be accurate answers. When we say group interview, then basically it is conducted by a panel of interviewers. This may be done when considering applicants for supervisory or higher positions. And so that is the group interview. But directive interview and non-directive interview could also be conducted in a group interview. So why do we conduct group interview? Because in a group interview, there are certain personnel with different expectations from you, especially if you are applying for a higher position, for a supervisory position. So more people will sit in an interview, then more questions will be asked. Okay? So when we say team method, this is basically same with the group interview. However, in a group interview, all of the interviewers will sit in one interview, only in one schedule. So you will be facing 3 or more interviewers. But in a team method, there will be many interviewers but not in one schedule. Let's say, for example, you will be interviewed by interviewer number 1 and after that interviewer number 2 in a different setting or in different times. Okay? So there are certain interview process that adopts this team method. And then afterwards, the human resource management officer will consolidate. She will consolidate all the results of the interview and then come up with the result after that. Okay, you will be graded, you will be evaluated by different panel of members. And then of course the last one is the physical and medical examination. This is very important. You will have to present a certification from a private physician as to his health condition. Normally, private sector or private organizations has their own preferred medical clinics or dental clinics or hospital where you have to conduct your physical and medical examination. But in the government agency, as far as I know, they don't prefer anybody because that would be a conflict of interest. Why do we conduct physical and medical checkup? That the new man is fit to work. It is important that you are fit to work, of course, because, well, you will be accepted by the government. So make sure that you divulge all possible conditions that you have. That will not affect your work. That the firm will be protected from claims for disability or sickness which may be aggravated during his employment. Okay, this is very important because the organization has to protect its organization, its people, its financial resources. So they make sure that the people that they are hiring, that the employees that they are hiring are of course free from, if possible, free from any illnesses that would affect his or her duties and responsibilities. That the health of the present employees is safeguarded, of course, it is for the security and safety of the present employees, and accidents will be avoided or minimized. After the physical and medical examination, other pertinent documents will also be required in the government service, such as NBI clearances, police clearances, and other clearances or documents. In the physical and medical examination in the government service, some also requires neuro exam. So when we say neuro exam, then they will test your mental and psychological capacities and abilities. Okay, so those are some of the process that is being involved in the selection process.